Welcome, everybody. It's the end of the month. It's the last day to get your orders in for what we talked about in January. And of course, it's the last Friday of the month, which means we're going to talk February new announcements. I hope you guys are looking forward to it. We got some great stuff in HO and N scale for you guys. Let's see who's joining us today. We've got Delta 9, Gordon, George, Race Fan, Ronald. We have Mark, Joel, Joseph, Donnie. Thanks for everybody coming on board. Yeah, we are at the gateway to the weekend, as I call it. It's the gateway to the weekend. You can see it. You can maybe even smell it. Workbenches are cleared. Layouts are ready to get worked on. And if you are out east, be safe out there. Let's see who else is joining us. We've got Chad, Tom, Richard, Jamie, Ricky, John, Anthony, SoCal Models. We've got Taylor, Rick, Steve, Derek, Owen. Looks like we got a full house. So it looks like let's go ahead and get started. Let's see what we've got. So now before I go onward, just like I say every month, we're just going to briefly go over what we're announcing for February. You can go to your dealer now and order anything that we talk about today. But the following Train Tuesdays and, of course, our new Athearn Live extra, we'll talk a little bit more in depth about them. But let's just go through what we announced today. All right, so starting out first, right out the gate, is the Genesis GP18. Now, we went ahead and released this. We announced it 2 years ago now, and those first orders came in last year, about March. And I don't know if you had an opportunity to pick up one of these or not. I picked up a couple of them. They are great running locomotives, perfect for my little operations that I have in HO scale. And they sold out very quickly. So it was time to do another run. So here we are. We had some requests for these. In fact, we had a lot of requests for these, Lehigh Valley. And we're doing them in different eras. We've got the 1960s scheme, but we've got the later Cornell Red in the 1970s scheme. And these are, each one is a little bit different, typical of Genesis. If you look at them closely, there's some subtle little details or painting differences in each one of them. Each one is unique. It's all unique to their road number. So we're going to be building these three here, 302, 303, and 305. They are available with Tsunami 2 sound decoders, or you can just pick them up DC to run DC or install the decoder of your choice. Now, here's a couple that are cool, definitely for you 1970s modelers. Here's a Conrail patch job, and we had requests for this as well. This is part of the Prime for Grime. So it is going to be a renumbered patched Conrail unit, former Lehigh Valley, and the paint has been faded accordingly. This would be how this unit appeared about 1978. So hadn't received its Conrail blue yet, but this is one that was also requested. Now, Missouri Pacific continues to be a popular choice. And of course, Missouri Pacific, they had the largest fleet, largest order of GP18s. They had a bunch of these. These are going to be the Jenks Blue 1980s paint scheme. I'm sorry, 1960s paint scheme. And this has got the Buzzsaw Herald on it. We're doing three road numbers for this as well. This is 512, 516, and 527. So remember on Tuesday, we had a couple of guys saying, hey, you know what? Rock Island would be great. When are you going to do Rock Island again? Here you go. Now, the Rock Island, much like the Lehigh Valley, interesting road. And if you look carefully here, you'll see, again, the three numbers that we're offering. Each one is got subtle differences to it. And we'll go over those on an upcoming Train Tuesday. But we are offering the as-delivered paint schemes, as well as one that was kind of a mild repaint in the 1970s. We're offering road numbers 1340, 1348, and 1353. And then last but not least, well, not quite. I've got another one in there, but second to last, Seaboard Coastline. Again, it's been really good lately if you're a Seaboard Coastline modeler because hasn't been much going on, and now um, we've had a couple of releases, and this is another one that we're doing. We're doing two different road names here. One with the Pulling for You slogan as seen on 1063. And the other model that we'll be doing is 1061. We also had some requests, including on Train Tuesday. I saw a lot of requests for Grand Trunk. And here you go, Grand Trunk Western. This is the black and Morrissey orange or Morrissey red paint scheme. Really attractive. 1960s era. So not a lot of differences on these. With the DCC equipped models, the beacon will be functional. And this one also, too, I failed to mention, is got the Canadian style handrails. So they're slightly different than the American EMD style. So a pretty good addition to what we have done in the past for GP18s. So looking forward to, there's a couple of road names in there. I think we'll probably have some likes here. Here we go. Here's somebody that's happy about that. I'll take this moment to kind of go through the comments because I've said it before. I don't always see the comments while I'm rolling the announcement. So we'll just take a break in between models. Mark's really excited about the Lehigh Valley GP18s. Yeah, that's one that needs some love for sure. Ted is on board with the Grand Trunk Western. Let's see. Yes, a formerly mighty fine line. And yep, Tom, I remember your comment on Tuesday. He's saying, thanks, Jim. I modeled the Rock Island. Yep. That's pretty cool. Anthony's happy about the Conrail one, too. That's awesome. All right, so let's see. What else do I have in the lineup here? Let's see. Well, we've got another Genesis locomotive that we're going to be talking about here. It's one that we haven't done in a little bit. Wayne, I'm kind of going to answer your question, not in the GP18s, but sort of in the next release that we're going to talk about. And let's see. Let's bring that up. And what we're talking about is the GP50s. Like I said, it's been a little bit since we've done the GP50s. Really interesting locomotive. Definitely the 4-axle of the 1980s. First up, we're doing Norfolk Southern. And of course, since these are Norfolk Southern, you guys that maybe even had a chance to rail fan Norfolk Southern in this period, and we're talking for this particular period, we're talking early 2000s. You'll remember them running these long hood forward. That was something that Norfolk Southern had done for years. It was very typical for them to do that. The first one we've got up there, 7037. That's the original paint scheme for first repaint. These were former Southern Railway units, and they had been updated accordingly for Norfolk Southern. And of course, when you get them from the factory with the Tsunami 2, if you go for the Tsunami 2 option, these are set up to run long hood forward as true to the prototype. But we got a couple of different paint schemes in there for 2003 and then into the mid 2000s. And yeah, it's going to be a neat model. I'm looking forward to seeing these. It's a high nose too. You got to remember, this was the era where a lot of the railroads since the 1960s had gone with a low nose option, whereas Norfolk Southern was kind of one of the last railroads to keep that long hood or the short hood high. These inherited from their Southern So let's see, what else do we have? So we had talked about these a while ago. It's been a long time ago, but we are happy to say that we're going to be doing the Burlington Northern Tiger Stripes. The Tiger Stripes were a program in the mid 1980s, um, mainly to try to curb the problem of grade crossing accidents. It was a visibility thing. And this was one of the experiments they did. And as you can see, they tried a couple of different varieties. They did the orange with white, and they also did orange with black. The GP50s were just some of the locomotives to have this treatment. And so this is mid 1980s, and this was I remember seeing these, not to me anyways, not too long ago. But the Tiger Stripes were one that was requested, and looking forward to seeing these guys again. Of course, we can't forget the Chicago Northwestern. We're going to be doing these in 3 different road numbers. And yeah, these were originally for their fast freights, their TOFCs. It's going to have the gong style bell that Chicago Northwestern was famous for. And if you get the Tsunami 2 Dakota version, then you'll have the functioning Western Coolan style beacon. So definitely a cool locomotive. We've got some BNSF in this round too for you guys in modeling the 2000s, and this is an interesting era, really, as the early 2000s with everything going on. These were just patch jobs, former Santa Fe locomotives. They got the patch job. There's some subtle hints of these locomotives being used with this current paint scheme for quite a while. You'll see that the patch job is a brighter shade of yellow, which was true to the prototype. Now, the interesting thing here, and we'll talk about it more on an upcoming Train Tuesday, is there's going to be different phases that we're doing. We're doing 2 different road numbers, but one is 3175 is a phase 1, whereas 3200 is a phase 2 body style. So there's subtle differences between these two, and we'll go into depth on those on a Train Tuesday. We also did the original Santa Fe 3822 and 3847. Same thing. We're going to do a phase 1 body and a phase 2 body. Subtle differences there, but these are basically as they were delivered. So we're looking at about mid 90s. Not really when they were delivered, but rather when they were fresh and still pure Santa Fe before they became patched over for BNSF. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this and go back to our main screen, see what we get. Let's see, there's Wayne's got a question here. Will you ever do the BN Crew Cab GP50s? Yeah, that's been some talk. Not on this run, but possibly in future runs. What he's talking about is BN was able to order a specific cab that basically extended the cab, gave it a little bit more room. I don't remember off the top of my head how many inches they extended that cab, but it's noticeably wider, or I should say deeper, not wider. And it was a crew cab, basically. It wasn't a safety cab. It was a crew cab. Yeah, we thought so too. So, yeah, those are neat. Those are definitely neat. Loving the Chicago roads. Yeah, Chicago CNWs always look good. Let's see what we got. Well, I see you guys asking for other models that we're not talking about, but those are coming up. Not today, but soon. Yeah, I did too. I like those, and I like the whiteface. The whiteface came after the Tiger Stripes, but let's see what else we've got. Another happy fan out there. Now wait a minute. I'll have you know that I've been known to model BNSF here and there. I'm sure, based on our sales, I would say that yeah, there's definitely some people there. They're messing with us. That's fine. That's all right. All right. Yeah. See, there you go. There's somebody that likes BNSF GP50s. So yeah. All right. I'm just kind of going through the comments here. All right. Okay, good question. So if you want to pre-order anything that we talk about today, everything's open. If you go to our website, athearn.com, go to the new announcements tab. In fact, if you're a BN fan like me, it's real easy to find because we got one of those tiger stripes as the banner this month. Select that tiger stripe banner, and it'll take you to all the new announcements. And you can do your pre-orders through your dealers right now. Your dealers know about these, and they are ready to take your pre-orders. You still have a little bit of time too. If there was anything in January that really caught your interest, you could still get some time to do a pre-order on those as well. All right, so let's see what else I've got here. And I think it's time to start talking about some freight cars. And this is a freight car that has been very popular when we've released it. So here we are. So this is our Genesis 50-foot PCNF boxcars with the 6-foot 8-inch Youngstown, or I should say 6-foot and 8-foot because it's a combination plug door boxcar. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on these, but again, we're going to talk about these in detail in the next coming weeks. But we wanted to give you guys a range because we're seeing a lot of guys modeling a really cool range. First of all, we've got the Southern Pacific, really cool paint scheme, offering this in 3 different road numbers. This is 1970s era. You got your ACI label on there. You've got that Southern Pacific font that was so popular at the time. Of course, they're Hydra cushion, really cool cars, and these lasted throughout the 80s, partially into the 90s. And speaking of the 90s, right beside it, we're offering Southern Pacific with the speed lettering, which I always thought was a cool look. Same car, but 1990s era. We get a lot of requests for 1990s era cars, and so here you are. Nice Southern Pacific available in 3 different road numbers. So we've got you covered for 1970s. We've got you covered for 1990s. For more, and again, we do so many 1990s cars because we get so many requests. We've got the Golden West Service. We're doing that in 3 different road numbers. And here's one that should look familiar to some of you guys in the Midwest, Wisconsin Central. I remember seeing strings of these. 1990s era. So for you guys in the Midwest, you're going to want to stock up on these Wisconsin Central cars. They don't usually last long, so pre-order now. And then check these out. This is Golden West Service, but these are Southern Pacific cars. These are part of our Prime for Grime. And so they have various shades of distress to them, if you will. The first one you can see, the paint is extremely faded. The Golden West Service logo is extremely chipped and faded, and it's been relettered for SP. Same with the second one and the third one, which is actually relettered for the Cotton Belt. And these are just available in singles. Now, I have these for my HS scale layout from the previous run, and they are really nice. If you've not had a chance to look at one of these box cars, you owe it to yourself to definitely do that. Let's go through some of the features real quick. I mean, these all have separate wire form grab irons, etched metal coupler platforms, In some cases, where necessary, where the prototype was, they have a metal etched roof walk. But what's really cool about these, and if you've got, say, like a shelf layout or a home layout that sits up a little bit higher than your standard layout, you've got all that underframe detail, all the piping, all the brakes, the cut lever, all of that is right there. And absolutely beautiful model, super scale. And if you go ahead and get one of these prime for grime ones and add your, you know, your weathering to your heart's content, they look that much more realistic. Really nice cars. So I can see not only myself, but I can see a few other guys out there saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick up some of those." Deltonizes, yeah, beat up Golden West cars are awesome. Yeah, they are. Yeah. There you go, Joel. Golden West service, we sell a lot of those actually. Ted's a fan of the SP boxes, yeah. I guess for me, I would have to go with the '70s one because of my era, but both of them look really cool. I'm kind of fond of that SP speed font. All right. And why do we keep doing these boxcar? Well, simply because the demand. Every time we come out with these, they're gone. Um, they tend to sell pretty fast. So that's why I say it's best to pre-order these, because some of these, like the Golden West service cars, they tend to go really quickly. So that's our Genesis products for this month. Let me see what we've got for ready to roll. We've got some great stuff under ready to roll this month. We're going to do some 5-bay rapid discharge hoppers. Let's go ahead and zoom in on these. So we're doing the Andersons in white to 1992 on up era model. We're doing it as a single. We're also doing it as 5-packs. And you can see behind the 5-pack number the different road numbers that we're doing within each 5-pack. They're kind of listed there. You can see this on our website more in detail later if you like at athearn.com, new announcements, and selecting the ready to roll HO5 bay rapid discharge hoppers. We're also doing the Anderson Reds, also 1992 on up. We're doing a single and one 5-pack. We've got Anderson's Black, 1992 on up, available in a single road number, as well as one 5-pack. We've got Helm Leasing, which is really, really cool, available as a single, as well as two 5-packs. Cape Breton and Central Nova Scotia, we're doing a single as well as a 5-pack. These are appropriate for 1992 on up. And Electric Fuels Corporation. This is appropriate for 1970 on up, so you can definitely use these into the 80s. We're doing a single road number as well as two 5-packs. And then last but not least, we are doing Georgia Power Company. This is available as a single and two 5-packs. So really cool on that too. Looks like Rico is liking that. Yeah, they are. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. And like I said, I see some questions out there. I'm going to make you guys wait until Train Tuesday. We're going to talk about these in detail. So I think you guys will be pleased. So yeah. All right. Let's see what else we've got out there. I know we didn't stop with just that for ready to roll. So let's see what's next on our ready to roll agenda here. Yes. This is one that's very popular. I'll zoom in on these for you. So ready to roll FMC combination box cars, combination door box cars. These are popular. We always seem to sell out on these, especially rail box. And we're doing two different actually in the end, we're doing a couple of different versions. Let's start with the rail box early. Now, guys that have been doing this for a number of years, especially rail fanning, you probably remember when rail box was new. We're talking late 1970s. And their slogan was, next load, any road. It was kind of like uh, the rental, if you will, of freight. And these appeared almost overnight all over the place. And we'll talk about the little bit of a history. Railbox has got a really interesting history. We'll talk about that on the upcoming Train Tuesday. We're going to offer the early Railbox, which is 1979 on up, in 3 different road numbers. And then the Railbox late, they did some subtle changes to their logo, to their size of their logo, things of that brought them up to the 1990s era. And these two were all over the place. You'd see these, at least in my area, I would see them up into the 2000s easily. And we're doing this in 3 different road numbers. So here's the other version. And we've done this in the past, and whenever we do the Railbox Prime for Grime, they consistently sell out first. Mainly because look at the era we're looking at. We're looking at 2010. And a lot of guys that are modeling modern day like to have a few of these in their fleet because they just lend themselves well to modern railroading. These are faded out, and in some cases, as you see here, just completely the yellow is almost faded out. But they've been updated. And we're going to offer the Prime for Grime versions here in 3 different road numbers. Also for 1990s, just before the big merger, we're offering them in Cascade Green and a 1990s era paint scheme. Burlington Northern kind of did the same thing. They kind of made their logo a little bit smaller. They got rid of the big Burlington Northern stylized logo on the right hand side and moved it over. And these were real common throughout the Midwest all the way out to the West Coast. And we're going to do 3 road numbers for those as well. Those should go quick. Minnesota, Dakota, and Western. Now these are really cool. And a lot of these, survived into the 80s easily. This is 1976 on up. This is a perfect car for weathering because that white did not stay white for long. But really cool cars. These are going to be offered also in 3 different road numbers. And then, hey, if you want to run those Missouri Pacific GP18s with some box cars, we've got you here. We've got 1974 on up, Missouri Pacific, 3 different road numbers. So I will admit I have a few of these in my collection as well from previous runs. These are great cars for just about anything HO. Doesn't matter if it's a home layout or a mobile modular style. They are perfect for all of that. They really are. Let's see. David Green has a great comment. Yellow is hard to fade right. Yeah, that's why I think that's why the Prime for Grime rail boxes sell so well. I picked up some of these in N scale a while back, and man, they just look so cool right out of the box. A little bit of a flat coat on top of them and some weathering, and they're going to look just perfect on the layout. Yep, more true than More true than you know. That's very true. Let's see what else. All right. I see some comments. Yes, the ready to roll do have. Um, they're not quite Genesis level if you're not familiar with them, but they do have separately applied grab irons and etch metal platforms, and they just don't have as much detail on the underframe as the Genesis models do. But for you know probably 90% of us, these are really great cars for what we use them for. They just look absolutely stunning out of the box, and with, like I said, with a little bit of weathering, they just look just amazing. Yeah, there you go. There's a good. The ready to roll details are perfect for operating often. They look great, but they aren't quite as delicate. Yeah, that's very true. It's very true. All right, so let's go on to our next item. And let's go a little bit more modern, not too modern, modern for some of you. And let's start talking about intermodal. All right, let's zoom in here real quick. So we're doing a 5-car set of the Maxi 1 well cars. We're going back to the 80s for this. And I do believe, I'd have to look at my research again. I do believe most of these are offline now. I don't think they're using service anymore. I think they just finally stopped using these. I could be wrong because there's so much data out there. Trying to keep it in my head is hard. But we'll go into detail about it in the Train Tuesday and we'll verify that. But first up, 1988. 1988 TTX and Burlington Northern, the twin pack. How many remember this logo? When I first started rail fanning, I remember seeing this logo. Really cool. 5-pack offered in 3 different road numbers. Real easy to make a nice train. Another one that's really cool, and check this out. Santa Fe Leasing, prime for grime. You see how the blue is going to be faded and the reporting marks are on a nice bright blue. I think that's really cool. We're going to also offer that in 3 different road numbers. Here's Trailer Train Southern Pacific. We're doing 2 5-packs. This is also 1988 era. And I'm sure a lot of you remember these from back in the mid to late 80s, maybe even into the 90s, the K-Line. I remember these. That dark blue is kind of hard to miss. 3 different sets that we're doing for this one. This one's cool. TTX with a container, the Hapag Lloyd container. This is going more into the 2000s, a little bit more recent. But it's going to come with 5 40-foot containers. So for you guys that are doing, I won't say early intermodal, but slightly earlier intermodal than what is common now, these will definitely fit the bill. Let's see what we got. There you go. Yeah. I feel your pain, John. You should try working here. I'm not immune. Every month, there's something I need to buy. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, Terry says, not quite my era, but cool for the newer guys. Yeah, I understand. Yep. He's thinking about some. Yeah, they're really neat. Very cool. All right. So, like I said, these are ready to roll sets. And let's see what else we've got. I think I've got more. Well, since we were talking about well cars, what do we need to go with well cars? If we're doing well cars, that means we need to do containers, right? So let's see what we got for containers this month. So we're doing the ready to roll 40-foot high cube containers, and what you see here. Got the Hyundai, the One High, CMA, CGM, Hapag Lloyd. So these will go nicely with those well cars. And that's the one thing that we hear a lot from you guys that are doing intermodal. Wait, I need more containers. I need more containers. So we're making them for you. We're going to do some more containers for you. Not a problem. Okay. Are we done with ready to roll? No, I still got more ready to roll for you. And this one, I'm kind of excited about this. Joseph is too. He says, I'm excited for the intermodal containers. All right. Let's see what I've got. This one's kind of cool. Everybody should be able to pick up one of these, especially this is more for the modern guys. But you guys are you're gonna want these. Let's zoom in on them a little bit. 28-foot drop cell trailers. UPS. You've done any type of rail fanning whatsoever, you've seen these. And you'll see them at hubs. You'll see them on the road. You'll see them parked. This is a license that we have with UPS. So we're offering a lot of different road numbers here. You can see the top without the logo. We're offering 5 different road numbers. Likewise, with the modern, we talked about this a few weeks ago. This is the modern UPS logo. We're also offering that in 5 different road numbers. And, these are popular. Again, every time we come out with these, they go quickly. They go very quickly. And you don't usually see a lot of UPS items in model railroading. It's getting better, but if you're doing any kind of modern layout, these are something that you definitely want to add. All right. So that is everything I've got this month for ready to roll. Again, anything that you see here that we're talking about today, you've got a chance to go down and talk to your local dealer, pick those up, and or pick up the pre-order rather. And now it's time for some Roundhouse. And I got some neat stuff in Roundhouse this month. I think you guys are going to like this. It's been a little bit since we've done these. Anybody want to take a guess? Roundhouse HO F units. Now, what's cool is this time they're coming with LEDs. We didn't do that last time. Let's zoom in on these real quick. We're going to do Amtrak. 1970s. The F unit looks pretty good on that paint scheme. It's kind of a neat paint scheme. Doing 2 different road numbers. We had to do Union Pacific. Had to. These always sell really well. So you're gonna wanna contact your dealer on these because they sell out quick. Amtrak is hot. Union Pacific is always hot. This is a 1950s paint scheme. We're not going to stick to the 50s though. I mean, we've got some other ones. Check this out. 1990s. This is the Burlington Northern. Their executive set that they had. BN1, BN4. Grinstein green and that cream. Really classy paint scheme. So you can pick out one of two different road numbers, or you can get them both. This price, I want to talk about this briefly because again, what we're showing, contact your dealer. Price is going to be a little bit different, but we're doing a special offer on these. They're $116.99 DC ready. Come with LEDs. These are great economy locomotives. CSX. How many remember this? Doing this in two different road numbers. This is the 1980s paint scheme. Early CSX. I don't know, Bradley. You'll have to wait and see. You know, one thing that we have not seen on these F units, I've got a road here I'm positive we have not done on these Roundhouse F units. Not this one. Psyching you out. Kansas City Southern, beautiful paint scheme, 1990s. Two different road numbers. What about this one though? 2010s. Pan Am Railway. I'm pretty sure we've never done that. On this run, Wayne, no, we're not doing B units for this run. These are just the F units. So they're just F7As or F units. So yeah, I figured some of you guys might like those Pan Am F units, especially since that's going to be a fallen flag here pretty soon. But these are great locomotives. Don't overlook them just because they're Roundhouse. They're an economical model for the younger modelers. Maybe you just want to have a quick and easy display, or maybe, you know, as we start to open up a little bit more, maybe you're going to want to run these at a show, because I don't know what your thoughts are, but for me anyways, when you're at a show showing your modules and running trains, people like to see probably one type of train more than anything else. And I think somebody had asked the question earlier if we were going to have cars to run with these, and I am happy to say yes, we are. So pick up an F unit and pick up these passenger cars to go with them. These are the Streamliners. We'll zoom in on these guys too. So everything that we've announced with the F units, we have matching cars. We have the Amtrak. We have the Burlington Northern. And they match their A units based on the period of time that those A units are. So Burlington Northern coaches are going to follow the same 1992 paint scheme. We're offering them with the coach, the diner, the dome, and the observation cars. And we're also adding, you can basically get these as a set that include the diner, dome, and observation, as you can see down here. And then the coaches are separate. We've got CSX, we've got the Kansas City Southern, of course the Pan Am, and Union Pacific. So these complement with the F units that we were talking about just previously. Yeah, you gotta have the passenger cars to go with them. It makes it a whole lot better. All right. So here's a comment too that I forgot to mention. Yeah, the Roundhouse F units, are they super detailed and super scale like the Genesis locomotives? No, they're not. They're Roundhouse. They're an economical locomotive to get somebody into the hobby. But you can also buy one of those and detail them to your heart's content. There's a lot of detail kits out there for these guys, because we've been offering this F unit in one form or another for many, many years. So yeah. All right. So I know I haven't actually seen anybody in the audience ask about N scale yet. I'm surprised. I haven't seen anybody ask about N scale. Any N scale fans out there today? I'm not seeing any. Well, I guess we can finish then. If we don't have any N scale guys. No, I won't do that to you. We do have some N scale. So the guys that are getting the FMC combination door boxcars and HO, you're not going to be left out. We're also running them for you. So you've got some options in N scale. You've got the rail box early. So for you guys that are doing N scale in 79 and through the 80s, we've got you all set. For you guys that are modeling the 1990s, you're all set. And for the guys into the 2000s, you're all set. And let me tell you, these guys here have been offered an N scale before. They sell out quickly. So I don't care what kind of N scaler you are, whether you're an operations guy or you like to set up Fremo, N-Track, any of that, these always go quick. So if they're of interest to you, you want to put a pre-order in now. They do sell quickly. Of course, Burlington Northern for the 1990s. We're also going to give you guys the option of picking up the Minnesota, Dakota, and Western, as well as the Missouri Pacific. So these N-scale cars, I've got a bunch of these already, and I really like them. Yeah, these work great on T-Track. They work great on T-Track. They work great on Fremo N, N-Track. And I can tell you that they work great on my switching layout that I have. Why is that? Well, because for those that don't know, these have body-mounted couplers. They have metal wheel sets and body-mounted couplers, and they just track better. Another thing I like about the Athearn N scale, this is a personal preference, is rather than just a pin that holds the truck assembly into the frame, they screw in, much like an HO scale car would, which really lets you fine-tune them. And I like that. I like that a lot. All right. So there you have it. That is what we're offering in the month of January. February. Man, the year's already gone by really quickly. Now you still have a few hours to get anything that you want to get pre-ordered for January. But everything you saw here today, that's available for pre-order right now as well. So feel free to contact your dealer. And I've got time. We've got time for a few questions. If anybody out there has some questions about the items that we're talking about today, feel free to throw that up there. And then we'll finish up with a couple of questions and let you guys go on to the weekend, because I know there's layouts to be built and projects to be done. So let's see what we got out there. Jay says, there are so many great modelers out there. Why does Athearn only feature Weather My Trains models on promotions? You guys should feature more modelers. Yeah, we hear you. We're working on putting an email out there so that some of you guys can show us your work, because we like to see everybody's work. So we just want to make a way so it's a little bit easier for you to forward those pictures to us. If you find me on Facebook and send me a messenger thing, I'm not going to see it because I just never look at Messenger. So that's not a good way. So we're going to get an email put together. And you know what? It's been about a year. It's been over a year. Maybe it's time to do another weathering contest. So let me know in the comments what you think about that. We did a weathering contest last year, and it was a great success. It was great to see so many great modelers out there. I'm going to go back and see what's new in Genesis. Well, the second run of the GP18s, we talked about that earlier. That's the second run. That's basically a new model. And then we're doing the GP50s again. We haven't done those in a while. Andy says he's going to be stuck on the 1/1 scale locomotive this weekend. Something tells me that's probably not as glamorous as it sounds. Let's see. Now, if you have any comments as far as something that you would like to see Athearn produce, go to our website, athearn.com, go to the Contact Us page. We have a product suggestion email. It goes right to our developers. They're not going to respond to your email, so don't feel bad if you don't get a response right away. It's basically a collection point for us. And some of the road names that you've been seeing lately, some of the models that we've been introducing, those are all based on your input. So that's the front line area that you want to take advantage of to put in a product suggestion. No B units on those F units. We're just offering the FAs, or not. I can't say FA, but just the A units of the F units. Tom says, hey, Jim, after showing us Rock Island guys some GP18 love, any chance you could help my Milwaukee Road friends with a dynamic brake equipped GP9 or 3? I don't think that would be a problem. I don't know of that happening too soon, but it's a good suggestion. I can tell you that it does have something that has some interest on it with us. So Winona's confused. I was wondering about the schedule for the show. Last couple of weeks it's been 8 p.m. Now you're back at 4:30 again. What's up with that? Why do I hear Jerry Seinfeld in that when I say what's up with that? So real simple, and we've changed the format a little bit. You can see that we've kind of changed our format on a couple of things. So first and foremost, at the beginning or the end of each month, we have the live announcements. Announcements are held the last Friday of the month, and they're typically held at 3:30 in the afternoon. That way, there's been enough time for all the dealers to know about the new products, a chance for you guys to find out about the products maybe just before the end of the day and get to your dealer if there's anything that you really want to get pre-ordered right now. And then we have Train Tuesday. Train Tuesday is a deeper version of what we talk about, where we go into detail of some of the models. We usually do a week with Genesis, a week with Ready to Roll, and so on. That is later at night. It's 7 o'clock Central on Tuesdays, 8 o'clock for you folks on the East Coast. and that happens every Tuesday. Um, and then once a month, and we just started doing it this past month, is the Athearn Extra uh, live program. A little bit longer program, typically on a Friday night about 7 o'clock. And it's where myself, maybe one of the developers like John or Janik, and a special guest come on board. And we talk about things even more in depth. And we talk about the hobby and we talk about what people are doing. And it's pretty much a show where we're in my workshop and we're talking about all the new stuff that we're working on, both personally and as far as a company. And it's usually lasts about an hour or two. So those are the programs. This is the last program that's at 3:30, but that's why we do it at 3:30 is kind of give a chance for the dealers to get all the information they need and a chance for you to stop by the hobby shop on the way home from work. And I've got it on good authority that those Milwaukee Road GP9s are looking like a reality. So, yeah, those are going to be cool. Let's see. Jonathan, there's a good question. Any chance for some of the 86-foot high cube boxcars, both 4-door and 8-door from the classic blue box era? So, in manufacturing, there are many times that we've got stuff that was, in the catalog, if you will. It was a perennial classic, always being run. Many times, things that were in the blue box era were not, up to standards for today's modeler, even in Roundhouse. Um, Sometimes what has to happen is one of our developers has to go through that model and they get to see what kind of updates need to be made, what type of things need to be added. If you were to take a modern day, we'll just say a boxcar, and compare it to your older blue box era, you'd notice that there's some similarities, but there's also a lot of differences. The molds are usually refreshed, if not totally reworked. And sometimes that requires changing some of the drawings, the CAD drawings. Well, basically, what I'm getting at is there's usually a lot of work before we can come out with a new version of an old favorite. Doesn't mean we're not going to do it. It's something that's probably in the queue of one of the developers. But in some cases, too, unfortunately, sometimes those molds don't hold up. That looks like I'm getting some notes now. Unfortunately, it looks like the 86-foot tooling is not up to par. So it doesn't look like we will do that anytime soon. Doesn't mean we won't do it at all. Just means right now it's just not in the queue. David Green says, yeah, you need that new Hustler. You and Tony Cook love that model. Dean says, hey, with the recent news of Montana, any possibilities for more Montana rail link power, rolling stock? We typically do our production stuff a year or more in advance. So we had pretty much had everything lined up before we knew about Montana Rail Link. That does not mean, however, we might not change something. So if we see a demand for it, we will definitely do more Montana Rail Link. Mark, don't worry about the GP18s. A couple of things that'll answer your questions real quick. Go to athearn.com, hit the new announcements, and you'll see the PDF that shows the 3 different schemes that we're doing. We'll also talk about that in depth probably this coming Tuesday, which is February the 1st, is the first train Tuesday for February. We'll talk about those. Any progress on the Genesis Surfliner cars? Yes. Yes, they are working hard on those. They're doing some refinements. but they are moving along as scheduled. I'm seeing some comments too about the AC 4400s. Don't worry, we haven't forgotten them. We're real excited about this release, the AC 4400s. We just want to make sure that we've got everything right. We're in the final stages. We're looking at road names, road numbers. There's a lot of subtle differences, and not just the different road names, but in the road numbers as well. So it's a case of where we want to make sure we get everything right. So, but we're getting close. Surfliners and N scale is a possibility. We'll see. The response to the HOCL surfliners was great. It was a need that obviously a lot of you guys wanted those, and we're happy with the results. So yeah, there's a possibility of doing those in N scale. When, I don't have a date for you, but we have noticed. Late Night wants to know, I don't model steam anymore, but curious, will Athearn ever produce any more steam locos in the future, or is it diesel here on out? So we've done some steam locomotives, namely, if you're thinking HO, namely the Challenger, the big boy, the MT4 in the Genesis line. We're going to be doing some in the ready to roll line in the not too distant future. But as far as new steam locomotives, there's nothing in the works that I know of right now. We've got a pretty full schedule of new stuff. Of course, the Surfliners, the AC 4400. We've retooled some old favorites, and when we get caught up on those, we'll take a look at it. Maybe in the future we might do another survey to see if there's enough of a demand for steam, or if there's a demand for certain type of steam locomotive. All right, I've got time for, looks like one more question. Let me see. Somebody shared something with me, and I want to see if I can share this, because this is cool. I think you guys are going to like it. All right, let's see if I can find it for you. All right, let me try something. All right, almost there. Something just came in that I want to share with you guys. There we go. See, we do listen. Just because we don't always hear from our developers doesn't mean we don't listen. Somebody was asking about the Surfliners while we're doing the show. This is why you don't see John. He's a busy man. There you go. So that'll give you some insight. John's watching the show, and he's working on Surfliners, and he's sharing this picture with us. So yeah, we're working on them. Specifically, he's working on them. So yeah, Janik and John will watch the show as time allows, and if they're at a point where they can work on the models while they're watching the show, this is where it comes in really handy. So I'll leave that up for a little bit for you guys to see, but there you go. There's a Surfliner. Now keep in mind, this is in the beginning stages. There's a lot to do. I'm hoping to do a Athearn extra where I have John come on board and talk about what it takes to go from, when we announce something to the point of actually you picking up your model. There's a lot to it. And John would do a great job explaining that. So yeah, that's gorgeous. It's a neat model. So there you have it. Man, a lot to be excited about. Really excited for what we're coming out with. And like I said, the next time we'll talk, Train Tuesday, and that's going to be Tuesday, February 1st at 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. Be sure to tune in. We'll be talking about the Genesis GP18s, the Genesis GP50s. I might even have a GP50 to show you guys, an actual GP50. And stay tuned, stay on board our social media for the next Athearn Extra. And we'll give you an update as to who's going to come on board. And, like I always say when I end these programs, everybody out there, be happy, be healthy, enjoy this hobby, get some work done, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday. So take care. High greens, everybody.